Hi guys, Josh here, welcome to Snapshots. Today we're looking at doing film photography with flashes. So one of the big differences between film photography and digital photography is when and how you can use a flash. Now obviously flashes are handy if you want to do something at night or if you want to do cool effects or maybe even out exposure. But with film photography there are a few things that get in the way of you using a flash. And there's also some limitations you have when you choose to use one as well. Now the main feature you really have to pay attention to is your shutter and its shutter speed. Now there's usually two types of shutter. You have your leaf shutter and your focal plane shutter. With your leaf shutter, you don't have a problem. You can set it at any shutter speed and the flash will be usable, and yeah, it's great. Leaf shutters are great. Obviously they're in your TLRs, your RBs, RZs, and your Hasselblads. Now using flash only becomes an issue when using like a focal plane shutter, and that's because they have a specific shutter they had to be set on to be able to use a flash. And this is known as your sync speed. So with most cameras, the sync speed is a 60th of a second. It's a pretty decent speed when using a 35mm camera, but when it comes to large format and medium format, it does become a bit of an issue. There is certain effects you can get, some which you might like to play with, like light dragging because of the slower shutter speed. The Pentax 6.7 and 6.9s, which are big medium format SLRs, they sync at a 30th, which makes it kind of useless for a studio camera. Other cameras like hot shoe mount cameras, like the more modern kind of SLRs, this specific model is 1/25th of a second, and one of my previous cameras, which was the EOS 500, was at a 90th of a second. And so make sure you research which shutter speed your camera syncs with the flash. If you don't know what your sync speed is and you set it at the wrong shutter speed, your flash won't be in sync with your camera, and so either it won't go off, which will ruin your exposure, or it'll only expose half the frame or 3/4 of it, so then you have a random black line through your photo, which are obvious things you don't want. You want your whole photo and you want it properly exposed. With point and shoots or more automated cameras, when your flash is activated, it's set at a 60th anyway. But flashes are great. It allows you to shoot at night when you don't have fast lenses, or if you want to be on a higher f-stop so more is in focus. You can get cool effects. If you put gels on them, you can get cool colors. There's a lot of reasons to use flashes.
But obviously with some of your older ones, you won't have a hot shoe. If you like to work in a studio setting with strobes, there are cables you can get to connect your camera to the old strobes, and there's also another adapter you can add it to the more modern strobes. And so you just kind of plug that in and then plug it into the wireless trigger, and that will set off the strobes. I have tested this. I don't exactly know what these cables are called because they just came with one of my cameras, but they're out there, so I'm sure you can Google it. But pretty much, yeah, you just plug that into the wireless trigger that you usually put in your hot shoe mount for your camera.
And it's pretty much mostly about figuring out what the sync speed of your camera is. If you've got a leaf shutter, you're good. If you've got a focal plane shutter, it can vary from camera to camera. Now, flashes can be connected through cables, like this one. Your METS flashes, these usually go into a port here, and it's usually for cameras that don't have a hot shoe, so they have cold shoe mounts. But if you've got a hot shoe, obviously it's all in the camera. These are just a few things to keep in mind when doing film photography with a flash. It's all really simple, just a few little things you need to know. And yeah, just have fun and experiment with it. It can be a fun time, you can get cool effects with that, and it can also help you get some shots that you might not have been able to without it. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video guys. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Feel free to like and subscribe, turn on post notifications so you know when there's a new episode. Anyway, I'm Josh, this has been Snapshots. Let me know any other kind of simple tips, beginner tips, or information that you want to know, and I'll make more videos on it because I do need some more ideas for Snapshots. So please let me know. Just get out there, shoot some film.